Hello, viewers, subscribers, and friends in the industry. It is great to have you here at All About Shelters, and you are now watching RA 9266 Part 10. I am your host, Architect Edric Marco C. Florentine. Well, in this video, I will be presenting 5 sections under Article 3 of the Architecture Act of 2004. And these are Section 15, Rating in the Licensure Examination. Section 16, Report of Ratings. Section 17, Oath. Section 18, Issuance of Certificates of Registration and Professional Identification Card. And Section 19, Roster of Architects. For the benefit of our new viewers at All About Shelters, I will be posting the context for each section on the screen, okay? Then I will read the text out loud for those who can't read it in their mobile phone. And then I will give my thoughts on each sections, okay? All right, let me now start on section 15. Section 15, Rating in the Licensure Examination. To be qualified as having passed the licensure examination for architects, a candidate must obtain a weighted general average of 70% with no grade lower than 50% in any given subject. My dear friends, clearly Section 15 talks about the minimum required ratings or grade, if you wish, for an applicant to pass the licensure board examination in architecture. Now, the first number we must carefully watch is the outcome of the total weighted general average, which we normally can find that rating at the bottom of the end column or at the last row. Anyway, this rating must be more than 70%. When you see a rating above 70, good for you. But below 70, well, there is still next time. Now, let me now go deeper to what I said, okay? All right. The score that we see in the weighted general average is a collation of all the scores the applicant got from each rating per subject, okay? Because each subject has its own percentage rating depending on the importance of each subject. And I believe the science subject has the highest rating amongst the other subjects. Obviously, di ba? Well, my thought here is that this kind of methodology is designed to uphold the standards of the profession and to protect the interests of the public. To add to that is that these ratings are based on the parameters set or described by the Professional Regulatory Board of Architecture. But wait, there is still more to that, okay? Now, even you have a weighted general average rating of more than 70%, it is not sure that the candidate has passed the licensure examination because if the candidate has a rating less than 50% in any of the subjects, that candidate did not pass the licensure examination in architecture. Because the law says that no grade of the candidate should be lower than 50% in any subject. And once a candidate has a rating lower than 50%, even though the candidate got more than 70% on the weighted general average, that candidate did not pass the licensure examination in architecture. You know that this kind of methodology ratings ensures that the applicant must have at least a basic general understanding of every part of the profession. So to the applicants, just make sure you don't have a rating in any of your subject taken during your licensure examination lesser than 50%. Okay? Now let's move on now to section 16. Section 16, report on ratings. The board shall submit to the commission the ratings obtained by each candidate within 30 calendar days after the examination, unless extended for just cause. Upon the release of the results of the examination, the board shall send by mail the rating received by each examinee at his/her given address using the mailing envelope submitted during the examination. Okay, now this provision simply means that the Professional Regulatory Board of Architecture shall submit all the ratings to all the candidates within 30 calendar days after the examination, not unless there is a just cause. Furthermore, the Board of Architecture shall send it by mail using the mailing envelope provided by the applicant, bearing the examinee's address that was indicated in their application. Okay? All right. Now let's go now to section 17. Section 17, oath. All successful candidates in the examination shall be required to take an oath of profession before any member of the board, any government official authorized by the commission, or any person authorized by law to administer oath prior to entering upon the practice of the profession. Okay? Now, let me first say this, that an oath is a formal, important, solemn rite or a statement you have to declare, or an act which the successful candidate verbally say and raise their hands like this to commit to fulfill a duty or responsibility in front of an authority, such as any member of the board or in any authorized government official authorized by the commission or any authorized by law to administer the oath prior to performing the practice of architecture. I think you got that, okay? All right, now moving on to Section 18. Section 18, issuance of certificate of registration and professional identification card. A certificate of registration and professional identification card shall be issued to examinees who pass the licensure examination subject to payment of fees prescribed by the Commission. The certificate of registration shall bear the signature of the chairperson of the Commission and the chairman and the members of the board, stamped with official seal indicating that the person named therein is entitled to the practice of the profession with all the privileges appertinent thereto. The said certificate shall remain in full force and effect until withdrawn, suspended, or revoked in accordance with this act. A professional identification card bearing the registration number, date of issuance, expiry date, duly signed by the chairperson of the commission, shall likewise be issued to every registrant who has paid the prescribed fee. Okay. Now, in section 18, there are two items listed: issuance of certificate of registration and the professional identification card. All right? So, first of all, both the certificate of registration and the professional identification card, you know, shall be issued by the commission with a corresponding fees. And this should be paid by the board passer, obviously. And I think you understand that. Okay? Now, the certificate of registration shall bear the signature of the chairperson of the commission and the chairman and members of the board, okay, with the official seal indicating the name, the practice of the profession with all the privileges, right? Okay. And lastly, the certificate of registration shall remain in full force and effect until withdrawn, suspended, or revoked in accordance with this act. Okay? All right. Now, the second item is the professional identification card. Okay? It includes the registration number, date of issuance, and the expiry date, and it must be duly signed by the chairperson of the commission. All right. Now, moving on to section 19, roster of architects. A roster showing the names and place of business of all registered professional architects shall be prepared and updated by the board, and copies thereof shall be made available to any party as may be deemed necessary. All right. Now, it simply means, and it's just a straightforward instruction to the PR Board of Architecture. It's just that the names and place of business of all registered professional architects are placed. And this roster must be available and should be updated by the Board of Architecture. Well, I guess that wraps up this video on RA 9266 Part 10. I hope I was able to present this five sections fairly, And by the way, if you happen to get something out from this video, kindly press that like button and subscribe to this channel for more of this. And I will appreciate it very much if you would share this video to others, your friends as well. Okay? Who knows, they might get something out from this video too, right? Okay. Now, and I wish to thank you for staying with me, you know. And of course, I am your host for All About Shelters, architect Edric Marco C. Florentino, and see you in my other videos. And mabuhay!